she's a person that we, or that I at least would like to be more like.
Death in Afghanistan, our community mourns.
If someone wants something, if you have enough resources, you can get it. There's no bulletproof way to secure your stuff.
We worry about the NSA, but your privacy may be at risk a lot closer to home.
This day should be a day of remembrance and rededication to do what Martin Luther King did.
During the week of his birthday, we remember the civil rights leader.
Good evening, I'm Carly Hilliard.
And I'm Meredith Stutz. We've been working hard all day to bring you this week's news.
Elon Local News starts right now. Hello and welcome to Elon Local News. I'm Carly Hilliard.
And I'm Meredith Stutz. We've been working hard all day covering Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But first, the campus community is gathering right now to remember the former director for East Area, Lexi Kammerman. Lexi was killed Friday in a Taliban suicide bombing in a restaurant in Kabul. She was an area director in residence life at the American University of Afghanistan. Our Nicole Chadwick is live in the Newman Lumen Pavilion where students will remember Kammerman. Nicole?
In a little while, students will be here to talk about and reflect on Lexi's life. Today, I spoke with one student who had a close bond with her here at Elon.
She was a person who had a dream, and she followed it.
Lexi Kammerman devoted her life to students like Sarah Patterson. Patterson worked with Lexi as an RA and saw Lexi go from the bricks of Elon
Was her office
to the dirt roads of Afghanistan.
As much as everyone told her it was dangerous to go, and you're gonna go be an RA, you're gonna go be an AD in a war zone, that's what you're gonna do with your time. She was like, yep.
Lexi's family told the Chicago Tribune she was fearless and driven. Patterson knows nothing would stop Lexi from accomplishing her dream, helping educate young women abroad.
I feel like even if she knew, I feel like she would have gone anyway, because it was what needed to be done.
Today, people gathered in Kabul protesting the attack that is said to have targeted foreigners. One other American was killed in the bombing.
I've lost friends before to car accidents or illness or whatever, but you don't think, especially so far away, that you're gonna have a friend who's killed by the Taliban. It's completely unreal still. I don't think I've completely processed it.
And if Patterson had one last chance to talk with Lexi,
I think I would say that I was really proud of her.
In the next few minutes, students will gather to talk about Lexi and share their stories. The gathering of friends begins at 6:30 p.m. and is open to faculty, staff, and students. Outside the Newman Lumen Pavilion, I'm Nicole Chadwick, Elon Local News.
The movement to legalize marijuana just got a big vote on their side. The voice on their side. According to an interview from The New Yorker, President Obama said of marijuana, quote, "I don't think it's more dangerous than alcohol," end quote. He also repeated earlier statements that he smoked marijuana when he was younger. While the president was not approving the use of marijuana, the comment has started discussions across the country. We spoke with Residence Assistant Allie Kornacki, who realizes that although marijuana has started to become legal, it is still illegal to consume marijuana in the state of North Carolina.
There could be all these kids coming from Colorado be like, dude, I can smoke at home, but you are not at home anymore. You're on Elon University campus. You have to uphold the Elon Student Honor Code, and you have to live under our policy, regardless of what you're used to.
Whether you're a politician on Capitol Hill or a college student, the National Security Agency's data collection policies could affect you. President Obama announced reforms to the NSA's phone record surveillance program on Friday. That name may sound daunting, but we broke down what you need to know. First, Congress will create a panel to represent the American public, but it will only be consulted when a new surveillance question arises. The NSA will now have limited access to phone records, and it will need outside permission to access them. In addition, the NSA is limited in tracing conversations. And finally, the NSA has to hand over control of the phone records to a third party.
Senior Nick Alano is a tech whiz. He's an information science major. He repairs computers in his spare time, and like the majority of Americans, he's not a fan of the NSA's policies. According to the Washington Post ABC poll, 68% say the policies violate privacy laws.
I don't like it particularly. I mean, a lot of people are like, I'm not doing anything wrong, so I really don't care. But the matter of the fact is, you are entitled to your privacy.
For Alano, the lack of transparency bothers him. He thinks President Obama's reforms are a step in the right direction, but more of a Band-Aid than a solution.
The third party will help and it'll add a little bit more transparency, but it comes down to the government doesn't want you to know something. You're not going to know about it until you get people like Snowden and stuff that are leaking it.
Edward Snowden is the former CIA employee who began the NSA leaks last year. Olano says he thinks Snowden actually did the country a service by creating a dialogue about security and surveillance issues. But the NSA isn't alone in collecting data. Elon does it every time you log in.
One's use of an Elon computer, right, is exactly what it sounds like. It's not yours. And therefore, your privacy rights and your ability to have private, personal discussions is severely limited.
The Technology Help Desk says it will only access your history if contacted by a government agency. They can search for any illegal activity, like pirating movies, music, or pornography.
I don't think it's exactly fair, I guess, but at the same time, from like the computer background, it's really difficult to manage, 6,000 computers and stuff, and keep the network free and stuff without having, it set up by usernames.
And Levine says students have nothing to worry about as long as they're not doing anything illegal on the Elon network.
The next step in the national debate, the president's advisors have fewer than 60 days to decide how to remove the phone records database from government control.
Well, it's no secret that our dining options in Burlington are shrinking. This weekend, some popular restaurants served their last meals. B. Christopher's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesdays are now closed. B. Christopher's owner, Chris Russell, told the Times News that he is planning on opening a new location in Greensboro. A new restaurant, Cutlery Steakhouse, will take its place in Burlington. The Ruby Tuesdays on Huffman Rail is also closed. A note on the door asks customers to visit the Mebane location. Mexam, Creations by Sherry, and Mathnasium are other businesses that closed at the beginning of this year. We spoke with former B. Christopher's employee Braden Moore about losing her job.
Now I'm thinking, should I get a new job? Is it worth it? But I'm a senior, so no one's probably going to hire me for 3 months. So now I'm just kind of in limbo until I graduate. Rather than if I was younger, I probably could get another job, or if they had stayed, I would have just kept my job.
Many businesses were closed for the day honoring Martin Luther King Jr. Members of the Burlington community marched in remembrance of the civil rights leader. The walk started in front of Occasions Restaurant in downtown Burlington and ended at the Mako Big Elo Community Center. The walk was sponsored by the Alamance NAACP. People of all ages came together for an almost 15-year tradition.
I just got to look forward to the positive things, but the negative things will hopefully not be an issue.
Coming up after the break.
Bomb threats at the Olympics, and one Elon student still plans to go.
If everyone was very open and talkative and, happy all the time, we wouldn't need alcohol, but everyone is not,
But is alcohol the answer? Find out when we return.
And a wild week in sports for Elon Athletics. A former Elon soccer player is headed to the pros, an upset for the ages on the tennis courts, when we sat down with new Elon head coach Rich Grosky to learn his plans for the fall. I'll take you through all the moments later in the show.
More than 1,000 people lined the streets of Greensboro earlier today to celebrate Dr. King. The celebration took place fittingly on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and featured local marching bands, activist groups, vintage cars, and even Ronald McDonald himself. I spoke to one woman who has been in the parade since high school. Now a mom, Monique Douglas, explained why she keeps coming back to the parade year after year.
I just want to make sure that my children are aware of his struggle and the struggle that we are still going through. And I just want to make sure that we're out here to celebrate and make sure that everyone is aware of, his message and what we can do to keep his dream alive.
Martin Luther King Day is often a time to get involved in community activities, but it's not the only day to get involved. Next month, there's an annual march organized by the NAACP that commemorates the Freedom Summer. During that summer 50 years ago, progressive whites from the North came south to register black voters. The march is in Raleigh on February 8th. Organizers expect 20,000 to 40,000 people from around the country. Spring semester is just a few weeks away, and that also means graduation is approaching. But for some, the end of winter term also means the end of their time at Elon. Our Sarah Russell found out more.
Many students come to Elon ready to tackle 4 full years of college. Some students worry about graduating on time, while others are more concerned about graduating early.
I always thought I would graduate probably a semester early. I never intended on graduating a year early.
Katie Pullman's 3rd year at Elon will be her last. Pullman did not make this decision lightly.
Absolutely the biggest reason is financials, but hands down.
Graduating a year early comes with some setbacks. Not only will Pullman be leaving friends behind, she also leaves a whole year of being a college student and all the perks that comes with it.
My parents were almost sad that I wasn't going to have a full 4 years, but I'm paying for college, so they understood.
In May, this lawn will be filled with students and families ready for commencement. But in just 1 week, over 80 students will have already graduated, a trend that is becoming more frequent.
We have so many students coming in that to graduate from Elon don't have to be here for 4 years.
Assistant Director of Academic Advising, Jason Springer, said it's not only financial reasons. Many students are able to graduate early because of their hard work in high school.
We have a lot more students coming in with AP credit and co-enrollment and dual enrollment credit, where finishing early is a very realistic option for those students.
Like Pullman, her 20 high school credits let her jump straight into required classes, an advantage she hopes will gain her respect from future employers.
I'm hoping that an extra year in the field before most of my colleagues will kind of help me get to where I want to be in my career, ultimately a little sooner.
And it already has. Pullman currently has a job offer waiting for her after graduation. Sarah Russell and Michelle Alfini, Elon Local News.
If you are thinking about graduating early, you can contact Academic Advising at 336-278-6500.
Winter term means different things to different students. Alex Rose has the story.
Winter term is a time to relax, have fun, and for some students, to drink alcohol.
I go out actually mostly every day. J term you have to.
Taj Zaran is a 22-year-old senior taking applied calculus this January, and you would think his class starts late if he goes out every night, but...
Well, no. 8:30. You gotta prepare yourself for the real world, son.
Dr. Jeanette Archinall and other physicians know the dangers of excessive alcohol consumption.
But people often forget how many calories are in alcohol, and they're empty calories. It's like binging on confectioner's sugar.
If you want to go out and have about 6 beers in one night, just keep in mind that on average your caloric intake would be equal to 3 McDonald's cheeseburgers. The difference between these two, one has some nutritional value, the other, just empty calories.
But that doesn't deter Zaran. He gets his nutrition elsewhere.
You have almond milk, you have your oatmeal, you have sushi, you have oranges, apples. You eat the right way, without question, you'll wake up with a smile on your face, just like I do, and say, praise God.
And even though alcohol is labeled as a depressant,
If you already have a tendency to depression, or you're very stressed and therefore may get depressed, alcohol will make that worse.
that doesn't stop him.
When I drink, I'll be like I was tired last night. I was like, I don't feel like going out, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I started drinking liquor, as soon as I started drinking beer, my head just went to a new state of mind. I was like...
Alex Rose, Elon Local News.
Not all Elon students are spending their winter term drinking. Meredith Stutz spoke to one Elon student who hopes that he and his friends can be a part of a solution to poverty in Alamance County.
After serving in food kitchens for years, sophomore Jensen Roll came across 2 main problems.
One of those was not enough volunteers.
The other was not having enough food to feed everybody there.
So the social entrepreneurship major joined with 4 of his friends last semester to create HOPE, which stands for Helping Other People Eat. The project joins participating restaurants to raise money for local food kitchens. Customers who visit a HOPE-certified restaurant can choose to donate to HOPE when they pay their bill. The funds are then directly sent to organizations in need.
You've got people who are not worried about maybe paying for this meal, and they're able to contribute towards paying for someone else's meal.
One organization that the Hope Project seeks to help is Allied Churches here in Burlington, where the funds can go to keep the food on the shelves and into the hands of those who need it most.
Thomas Bennis came to Allied Churches in 2003 for assistance and has since then been an advocate for the organization.
I don't think people have a clue how many people are having trouble with food right now and having to come here and depend on these people to help them so that they got a meal for their children and stuff.
While still in early stages of development, Jensen and his team already look forward to future expansion.
It's creating a community of people who is aware of hunger in their community and choosing to eat out in a different way.
For now, the team continues to work hard for the people of Burlington to make their hope for the hungry a reality.
The team is planning for customers to start donating at local places like Mosca's beginning in March.
Moving off campus could mean moving down the street or moving across the country. Wherever your new home may be, I've got some tips to help you survive without the comforts of university housing. So let's start with the first thing on most students' mind, food. Unfortunately, in the real world, swiping your Phoenix card isn't going to make food magically appear. But fending for yourself doesn't mean you need to eat cereal and TV dinners. Consider investing in a countertop grill. You can make everything from grilled cheese to burgers to paninis. You'll save time by avoiding turning on larger appliances, and you can save yourself the hassle of a cleanup if you just line your grill with tin foil before you get cooking. Another thing you should get is your neighbor's contact info. You'll never know when you'll find yourself locked out or just in need of a neighborly favor. Speaking of being locked out, get a spare key. Making a key costs less than $5, but getting locked out and having a locksmith come is going to cost you upwards of $60. Another luxury that most students take for granted is physical plan. Calling someone for repairs means money out of your pocket. Invest in a basic toolkit. Whether you're fixing a leak or just assembling your new futon, this will definitely come in handy. You can even go on YouTube to find tutorials from people who actually know what they're doing. Lastly, as your mother has probably told you, have a budget and stick to it. This seems pretty obvious, but it's often overlooked. You can even download software programs that automatically break down your finances. For more tips on living off campus, visit www.elonlocalnews.com.
Coming up after the break, how to keep yourself germ-free and safe this flu season. More than 50 years ago was the scene of one of the most important civil rights battles, right in our own backyard. Just hours ago, hundreds of people came out to the Civil Rights Museum in Greensboro to honor the legacy of Dr. King. The museum is at the site of the Woolworth's lunch counter where 4 black Greensboro students staged a sit-in, trying to get served. Christy Squire brought her family to the museum.
Our kids come home and tell us about history that they learned about in school, but not realizing that the A&T 4 was right here in Greensboro, that Woolworths was right here in Greensboro.
Sneezing, coughing, and wheezing may not be the greatest way to ring in the new year, but winter term often brings with it the flu. Our Mary Kate Brogan has the story.
You know how it is on campus. We live in close quarters and germs are everywhere, including the flu. But this current strain is causing some concern.
The difference this year is that a number of the deaths have been people who you wouldn't normally think would die from the flu. Normally the deaths we see are young children, old people, people with chronic illnesses. Most of the deaths have been people between 25 and 64, some of whom have had pre-existing conditions.
With the flu affecting younger people, it's important to know germs are all around us. Think of every surface you touch in a day. In 15 minutes at Lakeside, more than 50 people may enter the building. Chances are a few of these people have sneezed or coughed without washing their hands. one is all it takes.
I think it definitely makes sense that so many people would be getting sick, and it makes you more conscious about needing to wash your hands before you eat, or whatever you're doing, just wash your hands all the time.
It may not be possible to protect yourself from all germs, but here are a few things you can do to stay healthy. Use hand sanitizer when you're on the go, avoid sharing food, beverages, and chapstick, and wash your hands thoroughly.
It sounds so basic, but when you're chatting, when you're socializing, you forget those things. And they're the things that keep you healthy. And of course, absolutely get the flu vaccine. It is not too late to get the flu vaccine.
Mary Kate Brogan, Elon Local News.
You can get a flu shot at Student Health Services, both by appointment and walk-in during normal health center hours.
Threats of a terrorist attack surround the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics next month. One Elon student will be attending the games and is trying to stay positive.
Elon sophomore David Comerford will be leaving a week from today for Sochi for the 2014 Olympic Games. He'll be working for NBC, but he doesn't know what to expect.
The ambiguity of it all is a little bit disturbing, but I mean, other than that, I'm excited.
The Winter Games are only 18 days away. Threats of a terrorist attack emerged after a video was released of two men threatening to attack Sochi. The men claim to be behind the recent Volgograd bombings that killed 34 people. In the video, they say that they will have a surprise package for those attending the games. Comerford is trying to forget about the threats.
You know, I just got to look forward to the positive things, but you know, the negative things will hopefully not be an issue.
But Comerford's family is nervous.
My mom's a little worried.
President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, assured the country's safety, saying there would be some 40,000 law enforcement and special service officers on duty. Comerford says that if anything were to happen, he would just follow procedure.
I would hope that they're going to have policies in place, and then I'd just kind of follow the lead.
Comerford's friend Andrew Cole is also worried, but is still supportive of him going.
I think all of our friends are nervous that David's going to Sochi, but I think that this would be an amazing experience to have, something he'll remember for the rest of his life, and we're all really excited for him.
Sky Cowens, Elon Local News.
Comerford will be working as a cameraman for NBC in Sochi.
And coming up after the break, we've got all the latest in sports. Stick around.
Facing a top 10 team in any sport is no doubt a challenge. That's what the Elon men's tennis team had on its plate Friday. Trailing 3-1, the pressure was on Elon as they had to win every remaining match. Jordan Kaufman started the rally for Elon, coming back from a set down to pick up a 3-set win on court number 6. Silverman then showed why he's ranked number 25 in the country as he outlasted Duke's 52nd ranked Jason Tahir in the third set 6-1. With the match all square at 3 apiece, everything rested on the shoulders of Brian Kowalski. And as cool as ice, Kowalski delivered. Doing his best Johnny football impersonation, Elon gets its first ever victory over Duke.
To explain right now, I mean, I just kind of got to let it sink in. I know the guys are happy, and I'm glad that I could, do that for the team. But it's an incredible experience. I think all of us remember for the rest of our lives.
I'm so happy for these guys. They've worked so hard. We've got so many juniors and seniors on the court. It's just a great experience. I mean, it's the biggest win in Elon's history.
It doesn't get any easier for the Phoenix as they travel to the ITA kickoff this weekend, where they will face number 1 Virginia. The Elon men's soccer program has seen unprecedented success over the last few years, winning 3 straight Southern Conference championships. Perhaps the most influential player during those years was midfielder Daniel Lovitz. Lovitz found out this week that he will start a new chapter in his soccer career when he was drafted 24th overall in the MLS Super Draft to Toronto FC. That marks the highest any Elon player has ever been picked.
I was just playing FIFA with these guys a few days ago, and it's kind of surreal to know that I'm going to be passing around with them and getting into it on the training pitch. But it's a new experience. I can't complain. I've never been to Canada before, but all the things I hear about Toronto, it's an incredible city, and I'm just so happy to be associated with an organization that has extremely lofty goals and continues to get better.
Speaking of getting better, the Elon football team had a disappointing season last year, We sat down with new Elon head coach Rich Grosky to discuss his plans on getting the Phoenix back on track. Meet new Elon head football coach Rich Grosky. After a 3-year stint at Ball State, Coach Grosky returns to Elon, this time as head coach.
I've been doing this almost 30 years now, and I've always said to myself, from the time I got into it, I just want to keep becoming a better coach every day, every year.
Coach Grosky spent 4 years on the sideline for the Phoenix from 2006 to 2010, and in that time, the Phoenix filled up the record books and the win column.
You know, we spent 40 weeks in the top 25, 40 consecutive weeks. That's pretty doggone good. And to see what's taken place in the last 3 years, it's personal. It upset me. And I'm going to do everything I can to get us back to that stature.
To do that, Grosky is without a doubt going to push his players harder than ever before. But first, he has given them a calendar.
I think structure in an athlete's life is critical. And I think you have to create a daily structure. And it's funny, I gave them kind of a calendar. They know when their vacation is. They know when their time off is. They know when they're going to be working.
But before Coach Grosky returns to the sideline next fall, he hopes to spend some time with the Elon student body, convincing them to fill up Rhodes Stadium and once again restore the sound that has been missing for years.
I think, one, they want to see a winner. When we get back for spring semester, I'm going to make some trips over on campus. I want to get involved. Who's Peter, the fan guy? I've already met up with Peter, but just making sure that they know, hey, we're here for them.
Rich Grosky has been coaching for nearly 30 years. When he takes the helm this coming fall, he is confident he can win.
I'm going to be true to myself, and I feel very prepared to take on this task.
That's all we have for you this week.
Thanks for sharing your MLK with us. MLK Day with us. We'll see you next week.